Hey guys, welcome to my kitchen. So today I'm demoing pie dough. And for our pumpkin pie lab, I'm just going to have you guys get the Pillsbury already rolled, made pie dough. Or you might be able to find pie dough that's frozen in the frozen section and it's already in a pie pan ready form to it. But you know what? It is nice to make your own pie dough sometimes. And we all know that I have joked around and said that I hate making pie dough, which I do. However, I have read up on it, studied up on it, and I actually have found that making pie dough in like a food processor or a Ninja blender that I have makes it easier. And then those people that have a warmer touch, like I do, won't overwork their dough because we still want that flakes of butter in it, just like we did with our scones. If we didn't overwork our scones, we still had chunks of butter. And that's what allows those scones to fluff up. And just like with our pie dough, you want to make it really flaky and soft. You don't want any shrink in your pie dough. You want it nice and flaky and buttery. And the butter adds flavor. Some people will use Crisco, but it just doesn't have that nice butter flavor. So I'm going to add 2 cups of all-purpose flour, and I'm just shaking it off, getting enough in there, shaking it off, and I'm just going to use my finger tonight because I'm in my own kitchen, right? Pour that in my blender or food processor, whichever one. And you could do this in a KitchenAid as well. I should have brought in my KitchenAid Betsy, what I always talk about. All right, there's my 2 cups of flour, and we're going to roll out our pie dough. So I'm going to just get a little flour to dust. Now, we have all taken our test, hopefully by now. So we know that one of the answers to our test question was not to over flour any of our doughs. When we're just flouring our surface, we just want a little bit. So just a pinch of flour and then dust your surface and add a little more. You don't want to do the dump method of a half a cup of flour because you're only adding that much flour to your dough. And it's only going to make it more tough. So there's your little tip and test review. All right, move this a little forward. And to my dough, or to my flour, I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of salt. This is salted butter that I have, so I'm actually going to cut it down to at least a half a teaspoon of salt. Since I'm already using salted butter, usually when you're baking, you don't, but that's all I had, so I'm just going to use it. But if you are using salted butter, just cut down on your salt that the recipe calls for, and it should be fine. You don't want to be over salty, ever. Okay, so I'm going to add just probably half of that. I'm going to put my top on. Make sure everything is locked into place. And I'm going to pulse it maybe 3 or 4 times. All right. Now I'm going to add my other butter, the rest of it. And I only did that because there's only so much room at top, and I don't want my butter to just get into a ball and stick together. Now your food processor, your blender may be a little bit bigger, and you can add all of it at once. Perfect. But if not, just add half and another half in a few minutes. I'm just going to pulse it a few more times. I want to start to see little bits of butter. I'm just looking for it to break up into little pea-sized pieces. All right, we're getting there. I don't want to overmix it though, because if you can't tell right now, you can't. But some of the butter is sticking to the side, and that means it's starting to melt a little, and I do not want that, remember? So now, this is my favorite part of pie dough. This is what drives me nuts. It calls for 1/4 of a cup to 1/2 of a cup. So you're talking a whole 1/4 of a cup just hanging out there. So I just never understood that. But a friend of mine, a baker friend, told me that some bakers will use a spray bottle of ice cold water. Again, everything needs to be ice cold. Or you can just gradually put it in. And I'll tell you what we're looking for in texture wise. So I'm just adding this 1 teaspoon at a time. And that might seem really slow, but just pie dough's kind of finicky. We're looking for a texture. And the texture that I would say would be like, you know that moon dough? That type of like sandy clay that kids buy. My daughter bought it. I bought it for Christmas one year. Got all over our carpet. But it's like that moon dough. And you can mold it and it'll stick together, but then you just start to pull it apart and it's a sand again. Kinetic sand, I think it's called. And that's what we're looking for. I want it to just form in my hand. See, it's still crumbling. Okay, so it's really not ready, which I knew that, but I wanted to show you. So I'm going to keep going. No, there's a nice chunk. It's okay. I feel like I'm going to wake my youngest daughter. All right, again, I'm just adding 1 tablespoon at a time. Kind of moving it around a little bit. Oh, it's getting there. All right. I'm going to push that out of the way, and I'm going to show you now. I'm kind of looking for. So you see how this dough is starting to like, I can actually make it into like a putty. I think we're ready to go. That's what we're looking for. And that was almost 1/4 of a cup. Just a little under. I didn't flour my surface. You don't need to always see my face. So again, just lightly flouring the surface. I swear IT is going to look at my computer case with all this flour over it and wonder, what in the world are you doing? Just showing my kids how to make dough. My little sous chefs. All right. Taking my bench scraper, putting my blender off to the side. I'm going to clean off the attachment. I'm going to get all those goodies off. That's all of our butter that's going to stick together. All right, now this looks like a crumbled mess, and that's okay. That's what we're looking for. And a little more flour. And I just want to get it stuck together. All right. I'm going to flour down my rolling pin. That was my husband's grandmother's. You can see all the love in it. And I'm going to roll out my dough. Okay. Now, I have my dough right here, and you can see the nice chunks of flour. I'm going to butter down. Use this butter paper and just butter my pie pan. Obviously, the butter side you use, and then that way you're using all part of your dough or of your product. And I'm just molding it to, it's not the prettiest, but you know what? It's going to make a great chicken pot pie. You don't have chicken pot pie, or it could be a chocolate pie. Or just vegetable pot pie is one of my faves. Okay, so now that I've gotten it to this part, I'll kind of show you. Here's some special effect lighting. Do you guys see? I don't know if you can see it. The chunks of butter. There's still yummy chunks of butter there. I'm going to get a knife. I'm going to cut away some of the excess. A little pasta attachment. Sometimes that's nice to get those edges. All right, there we go. Now, if you were making pumpkin pie, you would dock it a little bit. And you would pour your pumpkin pie in. Now, if you were making a cream pie or a sugar pie, which is the pie of Indiana, sugar cream pie is the official Indiana pie, you would par bake this. And that would just be at 325 for 20 minutes. It would par bake, which would be meaning it would bake it halfway through. You would put your filling in that would need to cook if it was a filling that needed to cook, and then you would cook it the rest of the way. Or you would go ahead and cook it fully for like a chocolate cream pie. So I'm going to go ahead and bake this off. So I have a nice pie dough ready for Thanksgiving. I'm going to bake this off for 30 minutes at 350. And I'll have a baked pie dough ready for filling. All right, so today you will just need to answer a few questions on my demo video, and then you will be good to go. So, hey, thanks for watching my top pie dough. See you guys later.